All right, so my name is Reinert, and I am a country music artist. I'm based out of Nashville. You may or may not recognize me from the band that I used to be in. I was in a band called Gloriana for about 8 years. I left that band 3 years ago, and I have been on this new journey, this new path of being a solo artist. And I've just been writing like crazy, getting ready to put out my first album later this year. So I actually grew up out here in Southern California. I grew up in Orange County. I went to performing arts school there from 7th grade until my sophomore year. And that was when I really started to kind of pick up this interest in music, just in the sense I was really into musical theater and I thought that I wanted to do Broadway. And then that sort of transitioned into me getting into songwriting. And so I started writing songs when I was 15, taking my poetry and kind of putting it to guitar. And I just had this love of country music, just in the sense that everything is so storytelling based and lyrically driven, and I loved that aspect of it. And so it kind of just had this natural lean towards country music, and I made my first trip to Nashville when I was 15. Loved it out there, and I just felt like I really belonged. But my music, especially now as a solo artist, I've always leaned towards a little bit of this California country thing. Southern California really just being that I grew up there, and so I've tried to really capture that essence. And my parents raised me on the music out of Laurel Canyon in the 70s, so everything from Fleetwood Mac to the Eagles to Linda Ronstadt to Jackson Browne to Neil Young. So that's always had such a huge impact on my sound and on my songwriting. And so I kind of wanted my solo sound to have that as sort of this foundation, is trying to capture that essence, but still, staying true to myself. All my songs are really personal. And so it's kind of this mixture of my life in Nashville, but my life in California.
You just gotta feel it. You can see me where I am, hiding out here in the moonlight shadows. You can see me from where you are.
I think we're going to put out a couple more singles before we put out the album.
Okay.
I think that's the plan. I literally just signed a new record deal, like right before I came out here. So I think we've got a little bit of figuring out to do, but yeah, I think the plan is that we're going to put out a couple more singles and then put out the album.
So what do we have out now? We have
Cool and Dark Star.
Cool, yeah, and is that going to be on the album? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those are representation of what we can get.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think that, Cool sort of laid out the foundation of what the sound is, and then Dark Star sort of dives into, the whole process, everything that I've been through over the last few years. And Cool is, reflective of my first love. So, I'm kind of like piecing together all of these different elements of my life, over the span of the last few years, but even extended more. So it's a lot of like relationship things, and it's a lot of, spiritual, like what I've been going through. So it's touching on all kinds of, huge, momentous pieces of my life. I really just tend to write whatever I'm going through in that moment, or reflective things. I have in the past tried to write songs that don't necessarily apply to me, and something about that just hasn't ever felt right. And I made a point to not do that with what I'm doing now. And I have all the respect in the world, for people who can write the fantasy songs or songs that maybe don't necessarily apply to them. And it's a true art, and I wish that I had that ability more, but I struggle so hard to write songs that don't feel authentic or true to me and my experiences.
You're the only one that I still talk to. It's like we knew we'd be cool. Me and you never thought we'd get back to the way we used to be when we were cool.
if you want to find me, my website is rachelreinertmusic.com. You can find me on Instagram at Rachel_Reinert. That's Reinert. And on Twitter, I think I'm at Rach Reinert. On Facebook, I'm Rachel Reinert Music, I believe. But if you go to rachelreinertmusic.com, that'll kind of lead you to everything. Hi, my name is Rachel Reinert, and you've just been buzzed.